In terms of religion, where is the story of a great warrior who fought his way to the top and triumphs over evil? A warrior who is at the center of the story. We see throughout history, whether it is India or Egypt, etc. Greece itself, Rome. The warriors defined the religion and then the trade route. Mages, etc. type of people took over. What is a band? What does it mean to bind? How does it relate to tunes? Fortunes, fortune, cartoon, core tune. A cult, all the wordplay assigned to it: kill, loose, CL, call, lick, lock, lack. Kilt, colt, leak, luck. All these things are significant and can be connected to their activities and their ideas. And the idea of a cult itself, of course. So again, what does our soul scream out for? For us to forgive the villains. Then why in every society is there the illusion of justice? Because they're trying to placate what God naturally instilled in us. The desire for true justice. Do we want to wait when all is over? Is there a general consensus amongst the wisest and the best that justice is for God alone, outside of man? I tell you the truth, God acts through the righteous heroes, the martial artists, the Haru figures. Haru as the archetype of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh as he who determines what is fair, the judge. The King of Kings, the Judge of Kings, the Judge of Priests, the Judge of Religions. That is who I am. So when we look at Christianity, how many of you sense Jesus is on the way? And if you claim to, could it be psychology? Could it be the chemicals in your food? Could it be alcohol, marijuana, cigarettes? Could it be the pollution in the air? Radiation? How many of you can tell me for sure? You can't. I cannot sense whether Jesus is coming or not. I do sense that God makes things right. And it is in man's best interest for God to make things right through me. Through the Pharaoh. We also see this in many stories, even in popular culture. We see stories of cartoon heroes rising to the top. Movie heroes, action heroes. Why? Because our souls call out for them and the religions do not cover it enough. Because they are not true. They emphasize passivity. Being passive, rather. Hades, passive, the balance, the knowledge of noble things. Knowledge is not enough. You have to live it. The life of a wise man versus understanding what it is to be wise and not having the heart to follow through. Anytime you put your race, your nation, your family first, you couldn't possibly transcend. They're here on earth. You don't know what happens to them in the afterlife. When you put the Spirit of God that they have passed on to you generation after generation first, only then can you transcend. Transcend to what? Pass over. To overcome. How? So what is the proof versus the treachery? Who is conveying his truth versus telling a compelling story? I do not claim to know all the answers. I know that the sun is a symbol of God, and it is the strength of God that gave us this intense symbol that is God's most pronounced and important characteristic to man on his journey. And almost certainly, I go as far as to say certainly, his most important characteristic, period. the strength to conquer evil, to marshal things together, the heart of what we can see with the naked eye, our reality. The heart of our reality is the Son. And here among us, it is the Pharaoh. There is God, the most natural way to understand him, versus only narratives that are compatible, that Hades allows, compatible with Hades' depiction, his ethnocentric depiction, his depiction as passive and a non-martial artist, using dogs and other things outside of himself to force people in line. If you are really the natural leader, why do you need dogs? Granted, in an unnatural society, we see a difference. But certainly, even in this society, I need all the animals' spirits that are compatible and submissive to the sun, including the leopard, which is a nocturnal animal, is what scientists say. But yet, he is the symbol of the sun because he is the symbol of you have no excuse but to bow to the true strength of the sun. Whether you are from the light or the dark, you have no excuse. The mind control. Who is allowed to exist? Who is screened out? This is why it ends after me. Bred to reject Sun Temple Pharaoh. The breeding processes. This is why it ends after me. The more petty rich people, now think about how they're more petty, right? They're more petty on a large scale versus what you perceive to be petty because it's obnoxious in your face and they're poor and all they have, one of the few things they have is their pettiness. So therefore you associate pettiness with that poor black woman in the ghetto, for example. Because what is she besides that? But the rich person, he's rich. He's popular. He's this, and this. And it kind of clouds your judgment as to who's the most petty. Unless you're the careful observer or somebody who's in a position where they're forced to see them for who they really are. Give me an example in popular culture of a good person who comes from a bad family. You'll have someone who's sold to us as good. But they certainly come from an image-heavy family. A bad family. A trickster family. There's two ways to be the greatest liar. One is to lie about everything, every chance you get. More lies than anyone has ever told. In a sense, that is the greatest lie. The other is to tell the most believable lie, which must include profound truths, or at least confusing truths, and half-truths. So then there is the king argument. Elephantine Island by Aswan, the Aswan governing the swan, a swan. By Philae versus Philly. What is a Philly? Horse, scale, martial arts. Mare, nightmare. It is a nightmare to let some whore in heat tell you what to do. We'll get to that in a moment. Elephantine Island. The elephant says you are the most qualified to be the leader. To the hawk, leopard Pharaoh. Why? Because he says you can outmaneuver me and kill me. You are that guy who is smart and a greater warrior than I. You are a greater warrior than I, not because you're stronger, because you are more wise. Therefore, you should be in charge. The elephant tusk isn't a symbol of the biggest, strongest Igbo being in charge. It's a symbol of the biggest, strongest men saying to the hawk, leopard, Pharaoh, you should be in charge because you are the best warrior because of wisdom, mind, body, soul, spirit combination. You're going to lead us in the true spirit of God, and you have a superior military mind. Stamp of approval from the great elephant. Incidentally, I am not saying, make fun of people. Consider their obstacles. Consider their obstacles. Consider what they're trying to be. If you are happy being big and strong, or you're a woman who's happy being big, let it be for the right reasons. Not for conformity. Not so you can bully people. Let it be for the right reasons. So we talk about how I was raised. I was raised with reason creating the order. Not an order out of chaos, but a reason based in sacred divine morality creating the order in my household that I don't entirely agree upon, but the justification was clear. If you are going to be a leader, you need a higher moral justification. There was love and righteous indignation. When I was getting spanked, he was conveying, look, this is righteous indignation, spanking that devil out of you. Yes, it is right to spank your children. Impress upon them. Use the force, so to speak, to cast out the spirit of Satan. So to speak, to say the least, and to be diplomatic. So we talk about the best person for the job. Who is the best person to raise your kids? Do I have breast milk? Perhaps. Am I the less masculine sex? Perhaps. No, I am not. You are, woman. And the more you are consistent with nature and morality, the more you concede where your place is. Are you like a conservative, rich conservative woman who only sees money? My place is with the rich successful guy who's approved by society. Are you like the feminist? My place is telling you what to do. You're no better than me. What makes you better than me? God makes me superior to you. You are in rebellion. And I am Pharaoh. And those who are in my order are fair. You have never treated me fairly, not even for a day as a group. So how could your philosophy possibly justify leadership? You know them by their works. Women being fulfilled by natural grace from God conveyed through the divine order versus going to work where they have to use their pussy power on record and off. Where it is okay to sleep with your boss, but not to sleep with the disenfranchised people your political party claims to represent. It is okay to crucify and hang the righteous man by the pole in the same culture of philosophical debates, where their debates resulted in the most celebrated philosopher Socrates allowing himself to be killed. And did they not say that the righteous man would be put on a pole in the center of town for all to see? Well, why wouldn't anyone help him? Because your foundation is cowardice. It is letting the righteous man before technology be killed and put on a pole for all to see. Because you're all bitches. That is the story. That is the moral of the story. Because you all need raw to transformare. Transform. So I say to the coward, have you no heart, man? Have a heart. Do the right thing. Follow the band of the righteous. My band, if I was going to celebrate certain characters, it would consist of those righteous men that stood with Narmer. Those shorter men with the heart of a lion, the heart of a giant, the heart of a hawk. It would consist of a great elephant figure. My band would consist of the wisest, the best, the most respectable, those in the true spirit of God. And our tune would be the spirit of fairness, righteousness, and glory achieved with no ill-gotten gains, but with the true spirit of God and destiny realized. Fate, glory, love in God, honor, virtue, integrity, fidelity, nobility. The children of God are not just born, they are transformed by the Spirit of God. Thank you.